In this lesson, we'll apply some texture to our picture. So let's select the picture and just make sure you select the picture so that it says picture here. If we go to the shading tab, and you can see that we've selected a picture object there. Okay, so remember we created two materials here, and the second one was the bit in the middle, picture. So if you don't see this here and you've got something like this which says use nodes, just click on use nodes and it will look like this. Okay, that just means that it hasn't created the nodes for cycles, so you just press that button and it will do that for you. What we're going to do is map the color with the texture. So let's click on this little button here, and then we've got different options. We've got textures. From the texture section, we've got a bunch of different procedural textures here, like noise and Voronoi texture or gradients and stuff like that. But basically what we want to do is we want to use an image as a texture, so we'll click on that, and then we can click on this open to pick an image. So let's just go to the internet and grab an image, red pill, blue pill. You can put whatever you want to. Hopefully you'll customize this to whatever you want. Images. Just going to use one of these here, so maybe this one, and just going to save this. So click on this, okay, right click, save image as. I'm just going to save it onto the desktop because that's where I'm working, but you can save it wherever you like. Okay, and then we're just going to pick that image, so I'm going to say open, and then just navigate to desktop here and pick this image, say open image. Okay, and now we should expect to see the image there, but it's not there. So why isn't it there? Well, basically Blender doesn't know how to stick the image onto that model, and that's because it hasn't got any UVs. Okay, so UVs are basically coordinates. It's basically an unwrapped version, a flat version of your object. So you have to do this manually and actually set this up so that Blender knows where to stick the image. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward process, and we just got to set this up. So to unwrap something, we're just going to go to this different layout here. We're going to click on here and just go to UV editing. And what that's going to do is going to have a 3D display over on this side, and it's going to have a UV image editor view on this side. Look, if you look over here, you can see this view is called a UV image editor view, and you can press N to get rid of this side shelf here if you want to. Okay, so this is just a regular view, so we just come around here. Just going to frame this up. So you need to go into edit mode, press tab. We're just going to select this face, and so we're going to click on this face. Then I'm going to press U, and then you get these unwrapping options. So, and the best option to use is Smart UV Unwrap. So if you click on Smart UV Unwrap, you'll get some options here, and I would recommend turning off stretch. So stretch will basically stretch out. Even if this looks like a rectangle, it's going to stretch this out so it fills up the whole texture area. Sometimes you need that, but generally I would turn that off because I want it to look like what it looks like in the actual scene. So you can say OK. Now I get some UVs here which look exactly like the proportions of my polygon there. Okay, so if I were to use this as a texture, if I wanted to paint on this, for example, I could just come into the UV menu and say export UV layout here, and then save it as an image, and then I could just paint on that and bring it back in. So that's how you use UVs. So now we could see that in the view. So let's just go in here, change this to textured view, and now you can see the texture there. So now what we can do is actually adjust this if we want to, and move it around to suit the way we want it to look. So I'm just going to, so you remember the image is not actually a rectangle, but it's a square. So I'm just going to do this by eye so that I get what I want to. So if I click on here, I can see all the images in the scene, and I can just click on that red pill, blue pill, and you can see I can use it as a background. So now if I just move this around, I can use G for the grab tool. Let's just select the vertices first. So I can select this entire island. This is called an island because they're all connected together. So if I click on this island button, then if I click on one of these UVs, I basically select all of them together. Okay, and then I can move that around using your regular G key, your grab tool, and you could just move it around. Okay, so let's just make this in the middle here, and then I'm going to press S to scale it. Okay, and then we've got something like that. Now you can see here that it's been flipped, so it looks like in this one it's got the red pill and this one has got the blue pill, and we just want that to be flipped. So it's got a nice little command in here called UV mirror, and you want the x-axis. So now it's flipped that. I'll just do that again for the Y as well. So UV mirror Y, so it's just flipped it, and now you can see we've got the right results. Okay, so with UV unwrapping, all you have to do is select the faces, press U, and use UV Smart Unwrap. Okay, let's take a look at another example of that. There's another method which is called unwrap, and that's what I'll show you with this blanket, for example. So for example, if I select this blanket and then select all the faces, press A, and then press unwrap U, and use just unwrap, the regular unwrap. Okay, what this will do is it's going to figure out, this is all wrinkled up, but it's going to stretch it all out and make it fit within this 0 to 1 range, so that the texture won't be stretched. Otherwise the texture would be stretched all over the place if we just projected a plane from the top here. Okay, so it's smart enough to sort of unwrap that and figure out where the creases are. So you can see it's done a pretty good job of that. Okay, let's go back to our default view here. Default, and now you can see that we've got a texture there. Okay, so let's save this up, file, save as, and I'm just going to increment this. Save. In this lesson we applied a texture and set up the UVs on this object.